Tonight on Troy, TrojanVision News, homecoming is an exciting time, but it's important to be mindful of what goes on. We'll have some tips on how you and others can be safe this weekend.
Pennsylvania could decide the presidential race. I'm Natalie Brand in one of the most competitive suburbs outside Philadelphia with what voters here are saying and why a lawsuit was filed over early voting.
And students took the time to get excited about the big game on Saturday and the upcoming basketball season. We'll share the highlights coming up. Stay tuned. Troy, TrojanVision News starts right now.
From Troy University's Broadcast and Digital Network Earl Hutto Studio, this is Troy TrojanVision News.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision News for October 30th. I'm Sarah Campbell.
And I'm Mackenzie Foster. Thank you for joining us this evening. Now, we begin tonight with safety news. As excitement for this weekend's homecoming festivities increase, so do safety efforts from local police.
This week, local law enforcement agencies are presenting a unified front against crime and any disruptions to homecoming activities.
Reporter Belle Johnson has what community members need to know.
Homecoming at Troy is a day alumni and current students can celebrate the school we love.
It's about, rekindling old friendships and spending time with people maybe that you haven't seen.
The Troy Police Department wants to make sure all attendees remain safe during the weekend. Earlier this week, TPD released a statement asking guests to plan ahead and obey all traffic laws.
We just ask people to be patient. We want people to make sure that they plan ahead.
The statement also says to expect road blockages due to the band party Friday night and the homecoming parade Saturday morning.
You may find road blockages and things like that, but their officers will be at those posts and they can help you get to where you need to go.
In light of a shooting that took place a few weeks ago after a football game, Barron has a message to visitors who may be planning to cause trouble.
Any attempts to disrupt the festivities or engage in criminal behavior will not be tolerated.
Barron says officers with TPD and other organizations will be out to watch over the events.
But we're going to have plenty of people out Friday night, Saturday night, the night of homecoming.
Overall, TPD's goal is for everyone to have a safe and fun homecoming. Belle Johnson, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Now, TPD and TUPD aren't the only agencies who will be increasing their presence in and around campus.
The Pike County Sheriff's Office, Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, and District Attorney's Office are also involved.
And staying with homecoming news, this week students are in for a treat, not only because it's Halloween, but it's also Troy's homecoming week. Now, what better way to show off your Trojan pride than via a pep rally? Alexander Vines has the details.
Tuesday night in Trojan Arena, many students got to showcase their school spirit thanks to the Homecoming Committee's annual Homecoming Pep Rally.
It's such a great time for students to come together with Greek organizations just to kind of get an early kickoff to the homecoming festivities.
During the pep rally, Trojan fans also celebrated the men's and women's basketball team as they approached their opening season.
This was such a great event for students to just come out and show the school that we love so much, such a great amount of appreciation and Trojan pride.
The pep rally wasn't just fun and games, there was also a competition between Troy sororities to see who had the most school spirit. Students screamed, cheered, and battled for the spirit stick, but only one could win.
It feels amazing for our organization to win. The pep rally is Fimey's favorite event every single year, every single homecoming. We look forward to it. We just love nothing more than cheering for our Trojans. I just hope that everyone comes to the event this week to cheer on our Trojans at homecoming.
Troy University's Homecoming Committee's next event is Tens for Troy at 3 o'clock Thursday afternoon. Alexander Vines, Troy TrojanVision News.
Now, another part of Tuesday's pep rally / Trojan Madness was the reveal of this year's Mr. and Mrs. Trojan Pride. Those titles go to Isaiah Thomas and Jaden McQueen.
Now, last night's pep rally wasn't the only event drawing crowds. Some students made the trek from Trojan Arena to Sorority Hill for Troy University's Army ROTC Nightmare on Elm Street Haunted House. Jack Sturdivant takes us there.
Screams, chainsaws, and evil Santa Claus. That's what you could find during Troy University's Army ROTC's A Nightmare on Elm Street.
This is an event that teaches team building. It teaches the cadets how to come together, be creative, feel those ideas back and forth between each other, and it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of learning that actually goes into this event.
The Army ROTC starts preparation for this event in early August.
We started planning this early August, all the way up until now.
With so much preparation needed for this event, organizers say seeing the final product makes it all worth it.
It's incredible. At the beginning, whenever we start planning this, putting it down on paper, what we want to do, putting our minds together, and then watching it actually come to reality is a phenomenal thing to witness.
Not only is this a fun event for the ROTC and the participants walking through, it's also for a good cause, as the proceeds go towards the Cadet Fund.
This is for our cadet fund. The cadets each year, they go on what's called a staff ride. This coming up year, we'll be going over to New Orleans. They'll spend part of that money to get their meals. They have to go to a battlefield, and we've chosen New Orleans. They go to labs, and we have cookouts in the labs, and so that comes from that.
Jack Sturdivant, Troy, TrojanVision News.
The scariness doesn't stop there. Tomorrow night, we'll have Jack's walkthrough of the haunted house. You won't want to miss it.
Students looking for fewer tricks and more treats may have bypassed the haunted house for the International Art Center's Halloween party. Part costume contest, art show, and populist concert, Troyapalooza is Troy University's annual Halloween party. This year, students enjoyed food, games, screen printing, dancing, and the competitive costume contest. Organizers say Troyapalooza is a way for Troy's faculty and staff to celebrate students and their efforts throughout the semester and give them a fun way to celebrate the Halloween season. Now, the winner of this year's costume contest was freshman music industry major Dalton Grady Hills, who dressed as Ghost Rider.
Staying on campus, students here at Troy got the chance to sell their own handmade goods on the quad during Tuesday's pop-up shop. Students sold a variety of products to not only make money, but promote their own brands. Some of the products included crochet plush animals, beauty products, various stickers, and even clothing. Thanks to a new card payment system, the student entrepreneurs were able to get nearly 100% of the revenue they made back to fuel their businesses. One student entrepreneur says there's more that she hopes her fellow students get than just selling their products.
I hope that they're more aware of what their fellow students are able to create. I think lots of people don't realize how many of their friends and classmates actually have their own businesses that they're working to sell work with. So just overall awareness of what kinds of things are going on around campus with their students and what kinds of things that they're producing. But also that they could be inspired to look into their own talents and see if there's anything that they could produce as well.
The pop-up shop stems from the brick-and-mortar student-made store that's located inside the Idea Bank on the downtown Troy Square. Now turning to state headlines, in Birmingham, a boy has died after being hit by a car by someone who was trying to drive away from a shooting.
13-year-old Braylon Hardy died 3 days after the hit-and-run incident at the Children's Hospital of Alabama.
This past Saturday, Hardy was sitting on his four-wheeler on the sidewalk.
Then around 6:45 that night, gunshots from a shooting that happened nearby were heard in Hardy's neighborhood.
A little while later, police got a call from someone saying that a vehicle leaving from the shooting ran into the child.
The driver who hit Hardy ran away on foot, but was later caught by Birmingham police.
Now, no charges have been announced, but an investigation is ongoing by BPD's homicide unit.
And we're staying with your state news. Governor Kay Ivey is applauding the federal indictment of 2 Sudanese nationals after their involvement in the March cyber attack that targeted Alabama government websites.
They are charged with operating and controlling Anonymous Sudan, an online cybercriminal group responsible for tens of thousands of distributed denial of service attacks, according to a release from Governor Kay Ivey's office.
Now, according to the Federal Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, a denial of service attack occurs when legitimate users are unable to access information systems, devices, or other network resources due to the actions of a malicious cyber threat actor.
This can affect email, websites, online accounts, or other services that rely on the affected computer or network.
Now, Kay Ivey says, quote, criminal activity of any kind, including that coming from outside of our state, will not be tolerated in Alabama, and that she is, quote, thankful for the quick action of our Office of Information Technology, end quote.
If proven guilty, the 2 defendants can face anywhere from 5 years to life in prison.
And making international headlines in the Middle East, where Israel says it's looking into the circumstances of an airstrike in Gaza that Hamas says left 93 people dead or missing, including dozens of children.
The U.S. has called yesterday's attack horrifying. Holly Williams has more from Tel Aviv, and a warning: this report contains graphic footage.
An Israeli strike shattered this multi-story building. And according to Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry, many of those killed were women and children. More small bodies, shrouded, piled up and carried away on a cart. Death is commonplace in Gaza, but that doesn't blunt the pain. Tens of displaced people were living in the house, said this man. As you can see, body parts are hanging on the walls. The US says it's deeply concerned and has asked Israel for an explanation.
This was a horrifying incident with a horrifying result. I can't speak to the total death toll, but there are reports of 24 children killed in this incident. It is another reminder of why we need to see an end to this war.
Israel says its ongoing offensive in northern Gaza is targeting militants who've regrouped there. The result, according to the United Nations, is, quote, harrowing levels of death and destruction.
Israel's parliament voted on Monday to bar the United Nations agency that helps Palestinians from operating in this country. Israel alleges that the agency has been infiltrated by Hamas in Gaza. And earlier this year, the UN dismissed several staff members accused of taking part in the October 7th attacks. But the US says that it is deeply troubled by the Israeli legislation. Holly Williams, CBS News, Tel Aviv, Israel.
Now continuing coverage on the presidential race, former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris are out in full force hitting battleground states that will determine the winner of the presidential election.
Natalie Brand has more information from Bucks County, Pennsylvania, which is one of the swing counties in the largest battleground states up for grabs.
Former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris both started the day in North Carolina, holding dueling rallies within 60 miles of each other.
Well, thank you very much, North Carolina. You are a special group of people.
In Rocky Mount, Trump attacked Harris, targeting President Biden for seeming to call Trump supporters garbage.
My response to Joe and Kamala is very simple. You can't lead America if you don't love Americans. You just can't.
The White House says President Biden was referring to the comedian who made racist jokes at Trump's Madison Square Garden rally. Harris told reporters she disagreed with any criticism of people based on who they vote for, and during her rally in Raleigh argued it is Trump who hates his opponents.
Unlike Donald Trump, I don't believe people who disagree with me are the enemy. He wants to put them in jail. I'll give them a seat at the table.
Both Harris and Trump will also campaign in Wisconsin tonight, with Harris first making a stop in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Polling shows the Keystone State a virtual tie, the biggest electoral prize of the battlegrounds. We are in Bucks County, a key swing area outside Philadelphia, where voters are divided.
I believe in her policies versus her candidate, which is not my choice.
I like the fact that when he was president, he stood behind the stuff he promised to do, and he made an attempt to do it.
The Trump campaign today said it's suing Bucks County, alleging voters were turned away Tuesday after facing long lines on the last day to apply for mail-in ballot voting.
Yes, we were told it was a long line, a long wait. So they asked us to fill out a form to do a mail-in ballot. But we had to come back today between 1 and 5, which might not work for everyone.
A Pennsylvania judge ruled to extend the deadline to Friday.
Big news for consumers. The economy is growing, people are spending, and inflation is cooling. Now that's according to a new economic report from the Commerce Department.
CBS's Jill Schlesinger explains it's one of 3 crucial reports out of this week leading up to Election Day.
The economy is the #1 issue for voters in recent polls. The most common concern, higher prices.
When we get the final bill, it's like sometimes it's sticker shock.
Inflation is it's getting the best of a lot of us.
But new data from the U.S. Commerce Department finds what consumers are feeling has not impacted how they're spending. The economy grew 2.8% over the summer, thanks in large part to Americans opening up their wallets.
And what's funny about that is you think about every single poll that says, I feel lousy about prices and the economy. And yet, in this report, we learned that consumers spent at an annualized pace of 3.7%.
CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger says robust consumer spending, despite higher prices, is likely what has kept the U.S. out of a recession.
It looks like we're getting this so-called soft landing. High inflation met with higher interest rates without causing the economy to crater.
The report also found more signs of cooling inflation. September data on inflation and spending drops Thursday, then Friday, October data on wages and employment. Employers are expected to have hired 120,000 workers. But recent hurricanes and the East Coast port strike might drag those numbers down. The Federal Reserve will consider all of it when it meets next week. Economists expect they'll cut interest rates 0.25 percentage point and may do it again in December. Danya Backus, CBS News.
Well, Mackenzie, I know we were set to have another hot day today, but I noticed there was a bit of a cool breeze blowing through.
Absolutely, Sarah. I also noticed that it was really cloudy today, so I wonder if that means we're going to see any rain anytime soon. Hunter, what can you tell us?
There will be a slight chance of rain today, but I'll tell you more when we come back from the break.
Hey, look at Mommy.
Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry. Maybe it's a phase.
Avoiding eye contact is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today.
Staring contest. You
still got it. I know.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
People think I'm trash, but they're wrong. Today I'm just an aluminum can, but one day I could be a stadium.
Hi! You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. Why would you do that?
Probably okay isn't okay. Call a cab, a car, or a friend.
Good choice.
Now, your weather on TrojanVision News.
Welcome to TrojanVision weather. I'm Hunter Boozer. Looking around at the quad cam, as you can see, there's bright skies, a little bit of clouds, but will that bring any rain? I'll tell you more. As you can see, our skies have been fair. Temperature at 78 degrees, humidity at 67%, pressure at 30.23 inches, and our wind has come in from the east at 6 miles per hour. Our daily weather almanac, our high has been 82, which is much cooler than our record low of 87 in 1961, and our low has been 62, which thankfully is a way lot warmer than our record low of 28, and there's been no rain. As you can see around the state, Huntsville is at 75, Birmingham at 74, Phoenix City and Mobile at 80, Montgomery is the warmest at 81, Troy is at 78, and Dothan is at 79. Looking around the southeast, as you can see, we have temperatures around the 60s and upper 70s. Looking across the nation, our friends in the west are experiencing really cold temperatures, 16 degrees in Nevada. Tomorrow, we could see some rain popping up, maybe some clouds. Friday, still going to have that threat of rain and but probably just clouds. Saturday, for the game, going to have nothing in our area. And then Sunday, once again, not much in our area. Tonight, we got a slight chance of showers. It will be 62 degrees with winds coming from the east at 5 miles an hour. Tomorrow, we'll have 81 degrees, partly sunny, with winds coming from the southeast at 5 to 10 miles an hour. And looking at our 4-day forecast, tomorrow, Halloween, high is going to be 81 with a low of 59, no chance of rain. Friday, it will be a high of 82 with a low of 60. Again, no chance of rain. Game day, no rain, high of 83 and a low of 62. And Sunday, we'll have a high of 81 and once again, no rain. So thankfully, besides tonight, we shouldn't have any rain in the area, but it's going to be in those 80-degree temperatures. So short sleeves and shorts are probably the best option. That's been your weather. Now back to the news desk.
Well, I'm not excited about this warmer weather, but at least we'll be able to cheer on the Trojans under clear skies. So thank you so much, Hunter, for keeping us updated. Now, coming up on Troy TrojanVision News, an A-list celebrity crashes his own lookalike contest. We'll show you who and how coming up in tonight, so take a look at this.
And Troy volleyball will be back for some action at home after a week away. Neela Cole has that and more coming up in sports.
This Veterans Day at 7 p.m., see the TrojanVision premiere of Beyond a War. This powerful documentary short film explores the remarkable journey of reconciliation between Dr. Jack Hawkins Jr. and Dr. Lê Công Cô, former enemies on opposite sides of the Vietnam War who now lead universities dedicated to building a brighter future for students in both the U.S. and Vietnam. Tune in on Monday, November 11th, Veterans Day, at 7 p.m. for the TrojanVision premiere of Beyond a War.
Life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire, but you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Now, the latest in Trojan sports on Troy TrojanVision News.
Welcome back to your TrojanVision Sports. I'm Neela Cole. Troy volleyball will be back in action tomorrow night after a week of matches on the road. The Trojans are taking on ULM for a pair of matches after losing both of their matches last week to Arkansas State. ULM, on the other hand, is currently in the middle of an 11-match losing streak. Both teams have strong outside hitters and plan to use this as an advantage for tomorrow night's matchup, which will be the first match of the pair before the second match on Friday. The Trojans have won 7 straight matches against ULM dating back to the 2018 season. Will this record continue tomorrow is a question that fans will be able to see answered in person or live on ESPN+. And while on the topic of matches for tomorrow night, Troy soccer will be back at home as well when it takes on Arkansas State. Picking up their first win of the Sun Belt play this past weekend against Coastal Carolina, the Trojans tied for the second most corner kicks recorded for the season. Along with this victory came key notables for a handful of the players, along with the best performances of the season defensively. The Trojans have won more match in the 2024 campaign and will give all that they have for it. With tomorrow being the Trojans' last game, it will also be a celebration of the seniors. 6 seniors will be recognized for senior night. And speaking of seniors, Nick Wright caught up with senior international guard Ashley Baez to hear her thoughts on the upcoming women's basketball season.
Every day for the women's basketball team presents new challenges and new opportunities, specifically for those international players on the team. I got to catch up with one specific international player, Ashley Baez, a senior guard on the team, and hear her thoughts on being an international player in women's basketball.
I think my dad and my mom, they always want me to just get out of the country and just just show myself, prove myself. And since I was playing my national team, I always want to come here and just play for, in college and stuff like that.
Baez says the adjustment has been a little difficult, but overall, she does welcome the challenge.
It's just you got different people in here and just deal with different people, different personality. It's just make you actually adjust yourself and stuff like that.
Baez says that the number one takeaway that she's learned from playing college ball is to work hard and try to be the best version of yourself you can be.
You really have to work hard every day and just give the best of you.
You can catch Ashley Baez and the Troy Trojans women's basketball team in action November 4th against Buffalo. Nick Wright, Troy TrojanVision News.
Again, just like Nick Wright just said, you can catch Ashley Baez and the Troy women's basketball team November 4th, which is next Monday against Buffalo. Well, Sarah and Mackenzie, I know that we have football this Saturday, but I cannot express enough how excited I am for basketball season to finally be here in Trojan Arena.
Absolutely, Neela. It is very exciting, and hopefully they can pull out a win for their first game on Monday.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to cheer on the Trojans on Saturday and enjoy my cheeseburger, but after Saturday, I'll be moving on to Monday for basketball season. Thank you, Neela. Now, happening later this week, one of the biggest fairs to come to the Wiregrass each year will return to Dothan.
It's called the National Peanut Festival, and it attracts guests from around the entire Wiregrass area and the Florida Panhandle.
In this edition of Trojan Talk, Will Eldridge learns what visitors can expect and why fairgoers hope Troy residents will make the hour-long drive down south.
Hello and welcome to Trojan Talk. I'm Will Eldridge. Joining me today is Philip Tildwell, the National Peanut Festival president. Philip, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Glad to be here.
We have lots of students here from around the country who may not know about the National Peanut Festival, so just give us the quick rundown about it.
Well, the Peanut Festival started 80 years ago, and it was a celebration of peanuts and the peanut farmer. And a group of individuals, and our first president, Harry P. Hall, we got a group of guys together and started it. And so it's a celebration of the peanut farmer and the peanut industry, which supports the whole Wiregrass area, including Troy and all around here, very well.
So at the Peanut Festival, I know there's obviously the rides and everything, but tell me about the other varieties of things there are to do.
There's a lot of other opportunities, especially what most people like is our food court, where the local vendors, the nonprofits, a lot of people just buy a ticket to go in to get the food and then they leave. But we do have Reinhardt shows doing the carnival. And they've done an excellent job for, actually Troy students would enjoy that. And several years ago we opened a kiddie land to where the little ones could have their own place and the big people could have their own place. But it's just extremely, you can learn a lot about peanuts. We have educational videos inside the premium building, where peanuts come from, what's it about, and how they affect the industry.
So give me the rundown on when and where and how people can get tickets.
You can go to nationalpeanutfestival.com and buy them online, which I highly suggest. You don't have to wait on ticket line, but that's exactly where you get your tickets. And really, the smart thing to do right now, we have what we call a Mega Pass, which costs $30. It includes your ticket, get in, plus your armband for that night, any time of the week. In other words, we do have armbands each night, but it's easier for someone to buy that $30 ticket online before next Friday. I think it ends Thursday at 5 or 6 o'clock. That way you can come any day and you have one ticket that includes your armband for all the rides and gate admission.
What would be your advice for first-time fairgoers?
Oh, first-time fairgoers? It's an experience. We'd love to have everyone there. Just get in, absorb it, look, take your time, and just enjoy.
That's all I've got for you. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for joining us on this edition of Trojan Talk.
A celeb lookalike contest gets a surprise visit from its A-list namesake, turning lots of heads that all look very similar.
Jeremy Roth has that story in tonight's edition of Take a Look at This.
Watch a fleet of Timothée Chalamet lookalikes get upstaged by a surprise visit from the real thing. There was no shortage of Chalamets at this New York City lookalike contest, where participants got their hair done up dapper and donned duds from Dune and Wonka whatnot in celebration of the lanky and swanky leading man. But just when the day couldn't get any more Chalamet, the real actor showed up and crashed his own lookalike contest. As the grade A Timothée made his way through the fray, stunned fan reactions ranged from Shala hey to Shala no way to Shala hooray! Eventually, the huge crowd was dispersed by police, but not before a winner was named Best Tim, somehow out-Timming the real Tim. But the celeb's surprise appearance did prove one thing: the actor starring in this year's Oscar bait, A Complete Unknown, is clearly anything but. And from a leading man dropping in to superheroes swinging by, as cape and cowl-clad window washers gave pediatric patients at this Houston hospital a thrill. According to KHOU, the spelunking superhero stunt has become an annual tradition at MD Anderson Cancer Hospital in an effort to bring joy to patients and their families during the holidays. Finally, to little leading lads and ladies playing dress-up in the NICU. Parents and caregivers at Ohio's Cleveland Clinic had themselves a Halloween hoot, dressing up newborns in the hospital's neonatal intensive care unit. There was everything from a caterpillar to a football player, a cow, a zebra, a bride, and of course, a tay-tay, a baby. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Well, that's all the time we have tonight for Troy TrojanVision News. From all of us here, thanks for joining us.
Tune in again tomorrow night for more news, sports, and weather. Until then, have a great night.